Hey guys, so we're going to talk about purple. Purple, purple, purple. Oh my god. The first time I got a call about this little girl, she was in kindergarten. So my girls are twin girls, so I can talk about their age because they're the same age. She was 4.5. I get a phone call. I'm like, hello, I'm at work and stuff. And they're like, oh, wanted to call you because this is, Purple fell asleep in class and it's been about 2.5 hours and she hasn't been able to wake up. Okay. Well, what is her sleeping pattern? I'm like, okay, she sleeps 12 hours. She's, 7 to 7. Well, this is the third time. What? This is the third time my child falls asleep in school, and this is the first time you're calling me? Well, we just thought maybe. I'm like, no. She falls asleep the first time. You call me so I can keep an eye on it. Now, purple and blue both have had weird sleeping issues. I mean, they would be in their room and they would be calling for me, and I would walk in their room, and she especially would have. They both do actually would have full blown conversations with me, and while they're sleeping. But she did start to experience. So I noticed one thing about her. She, at a very young age, didn't like laughing very much. She didn't like to be tickled and stuff like that. And I just kind of like, just was just like whatever. Like, some kids are just whatever. So we went to see a sleep specialist with this, which is actually all four of their doctors. And we talked about it and stuff like that. And, and he was like, well, it could be allergies, it could be this. And then he tested her for POTS and he tested her for other things. And narcolepsy came up in the conversation. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, nah, she's just tired, like during the day. And I'm like, it could be because, she sleeps 12 hours, but she was used to, in preschool and before preschool, to take a 3 or 4 hour nap, how they all did. So one thing led to another. We kind of just paused and we follow up with like ENT. We followed up with everybody. Everything was coming back negative. I mean, she has slight allergies to dogs and cats, and she was on an antihistamine and stuff like that. But the issue was still recurring. During the time, that's when my issue started to get worse. So we decided that we were gonna wait till the summer to do her testing. So we went and we did her testing. She did 5 naps. If I'm not mistaken, she slept in three and hit REM in two of them. 2 out of her 3 naps. Her, I don't know. It was weird. So when I went back, he told me that she had narcolepsy. Now, what was interesting was when I took her to the first appointment prior to everything, I learned things that I didn't know. She starts to describe things in her own word. I mean, again, we have to remember she was about 4.5 or 5 at the time. So she's telling him how when she laughs, because he's an awesome doctor. So if anybody's in Connecticut and needs a children's sleep doctor, sleep specialist, he doesn't only deal with narcolepsy. He deals with sleep issues as well. They do pulmonologists there as well, but he really, really, really tries to focus on narcolepsy a lot. So he did a lot of open-ended questions with her to not put words in her mouth, which I loved. So she starts, he would, talk to her, like, she was drawing and stuff, and he's talking to her. She's like, oh, well, mom said, that you're sleeping in school and this and this and that. She goes like, oh, yeah, I'm just tired all the time. And he was like, oh, well, why do you think you're tired? And, she starts to go on and on. And then in one of the things, he he said a joke and I was cracking up. I can't even remember what the joke was. And she's like holding in her laugh. And he's like, oh, don't you think it's funny? And she's like, yeah, it's funny. And he's like, well, why are you not laughing? And then she tells him, she's like, well, whenever I laugh, my body does these weird things and I feel like I'm gonna fall. I'm looking at her, I'm like, oh my God, like, I've never noticed. Like, I've noticed that she doesn't like laughing, but I never really thought about why. And then she starts going into like, how she's having nightmares every day. And at this point, she was just kind of dealing with them. She was having a lot of sleep paralysis, which I wasn't aware of because she wasn't telling me. So I guess she thought, or the way she was processing was, she was having sleep paralysis, but she thought that she was still dreaming. So she thought she was dreaming in a dream type, whatever it was, like however she explained it. She was having a lot of red flags for narcolepsy, but I was missing them because, one, she wasn't talking about them. I really don't know why. You know, she is what I used to call like mother hen. She was always worried about everybody else. She wanted to take care of everybody. That's what they used to call her in preschool, that she was like, you know, the motherly one. So, you know, now she's diagnosed and she's on medications. Something fell, and I have no idea what because I'm by myself in the house. Oh well. Anyways, she she struggled. So kindergarten, first grade, and second grade, she had summer school. Now she's very smart, very very smart. But because of her how tired she wasn't retaining a lot. And the reason why I say that is because since we started medicating her in the summer prior to school starting, when we met with her third grade teacher, her teacher was like, what was going on last year? And I'm like, what do you mean? She was like, look at this and look at this. So if you see her grades and like all the testing and everything that they do, you know how they do evaluations and stuff like that, you wouldn't say that this child, you know, in this scenario in second grade, is the same child. She's just like, she awesome. Like her, but again, when it comes to medications, if we're switching meds or we're adjusting things, you start to see it in her grades. So it really does affect her when it comes, you know, to her grades. She doesn't really nap in school. She does nap on the bus when she takes the bus back home. And I know some parents get frustrated because the bus driver waits until I get on the bus and I pick her up and carry her to the car because she's sleeping. And there's really, you know, and the bus driver is awesome. She has like a blanket and pillows for her and everything. But there's really not much that neither of us can do. She's tired. I mean, she hasn't taken a nap. Oh my God, I feel like I have a hair. She hasn't taken a nap. She hasn't anything, so she's gonna sleep. And before I would have the bus driver pull over, but I stopped doing that because one day when I was taking her out, somebody said something. There was this woman, or there was a woman in a car behind the bus, and she was like mumbling something, and I went up to her and I was like, you don't know anyone's situation. So I suggest if you don't want to be stuck behind a school bus, you take another route home then after work. And I walked to my car. I didn't have to explain that my child has narcolepsy or anything like that. You wait, because if it was a child that was coming out with, you know, in a wheelchair, if it was one of the smaller buses that carries the special education kids and stuff like that, you will be waiting with no fucking problem. And sorry for the cursing, but because my child doesn't look like she has something severe or anything like that, you want to go ahead and make a comment. And I mean, you know, there are other parents in the parking lot that do see me every single time I go to pick her up. I know that I have to get out of the car. 99% of the time, I have to carry her off the bus. And I have an issue with it because she's freaking heavy. She's like 70, almost close to like 70 pounds. They both are, which I don't know where because they're so freaking skinny. But as far as like why she's falling asleep, no, I'm not freaking pissed. We both agreed, as we did with my sons, that napping at school was going to be something that we were going to try not to do. That taking stimulants at their ages was something that we were not going to do at this moment, as long as the sleeping medication and other strategies that we do at home are working. That's it. It's our life, it's our choice, and this is what we have chosen to do. So if she needs to take a nap on her way to school or on her way back from school, then she will. Now if I can't, and I've gotten to days, there's been mornings where I've literally picked her up in the morning and carry her ass to the bathroom and showered her before she even wakes up. It doesn't happen very often. It's happened a couple of times prior to being medicated. Now we just kind of go with, we kind of get a feel for it. And if I feel she's going to be more, if it's going to be more of a drag for her to be in school than anything else, then I just keep her home. I can tell when she's tired because she starts to whine, so she can't speak clearly. It's that, and like, just, you need to go take a nap. And, and people, when she was first diagnosed, people were saying that I was spoiling her, that I was this, I was that. No, I wasn't doing any of that. I was trying to level with her, letting her know that I understood what she was going through, that I understood how she feels, the way she feels, how the lack of sleep and everything affects her emotions, and it affects everything else. That's what I was trying to come to her level of understanding at her age. So it looked like I was spoiling her because I wasn't letting other people correct her in the way that they correct my other kids, because she's not going to process it the same way. So if you have a 2-year-old that is having a tantrum and you have a 2-year-old that it's not, and you tell them not to touch something, the 2-year-old that is not having the tantrum is going to understand you because they have the ability to listen to what you're saying. The 2-year-old that is having the tantrum, everything you're saying is going in one ear and out the other because they're all concerned about why they're throwing the tantrum. So because she has narcolepsy, if she is extremely tired and she's whining over something that there's no reason to whine about, I cannot speak to her like I would speak to her when she's not as tired. And a lot of people haven't had an issue with understanding that. So then I had to become mama bear and come out as this what people view as overprotected, or what people view as spoiling, or as what people view as enabling. I was not enabling. I am trying my best to help her and my son walk through this with the full understanding that it is okay to be you, and it is okay that you are going to react differently depending on your level of tiredness. So what I do is, you need to, first of all, understand when you're tired. You need to realize when you're getting to that point. And then what you have to do is go ahead and put yourself in a place where you're just going to calm down, whether take a nap or just relax, listening to music, or do whatever it is that you have to do to kind of reset yourself. So, and we're still working on that. She's only 8. We're still working on that. And I still have days where I have to send her to go to sleep. And she'll whine and whine as she's walking to her room, and she's laying in bed and she's still whining, and then I go check on her, and like, not even a minute later, she's passed out. She'll sleep 20 minutes, an hour, whatever it is. She wakes up, completely different person. But somebody that doesn't have narcolepsy, even if you're a parent that has a child that has narcolepsy, sometimes it's hard for you to understand if you don't have it yourself. Now, because I have it, I seem to have an advantage on how to help them cope with it, is basically it. That's about it. Thank you.